Tokozani, it's Monday. I'm Gogo Lerato. I'm Gogo Kandalembube. I've had a long weekend, like all of you guys. Hence my face is puffy and, and all of that. I'm quite tired. We've had a wonderful weekend. Got to catch up with wonderful friends, like that I haven't seen forever. So, yeah, okay. Let's pray. Rephahla. Le se di bonkgolo le bontate moholo ba makubetse ba mtshali ba bogatso ba go tlwa ke a lebitsa bonkgolo le bontate mo le go tlontseng tsa lefatshe bonkgolo le bontate moholo ke a lebitsa ka ofela ke le hohla ka letsola moya ke kena ka go le godimo ke bitsa mabitla matšhala gale bonkgolo le bontate moholo ke na ngwana lona khanda lembobe ke na ngwana lona lerato go tloa ke na ngwana lona o tswalwang ke mohau makubetse lo buseng bogatso ka be ka o nyalwa ke mora wa bataung bonkgolo le bontate moholo gantsetseng ditsela e be lena le tla bua bonkgolo le bontate moholo Thokozani Camako Makhosi Lesedi Khanya. Thokozani, it's Monday and I have so much that I want to talk about, but I did promise today to do a lesson on water. Why we fear water, water spirits, why all this chaos. There's one particular question that I got, I think a couple of weeks back, that is it's relative to this, it's related to this, so I want to answer that question. All right, so Metsi, what is in the water? But before we do that, I really want to go back to my analogy that I always use, that each of us are differentiations of the Almighty God, making itself known to itself through its own creative process, through differentiation, through breaking itself up and giving itself many images of the body being us. Now, these images of the body, they were created through a process of evolution, right? So Darwinism has said, and I'm just going back, I'm just recapping a bit. Darwinism has said that we are all actually evolving from a rock, I guess into the sea life, and through the ages, into different species and then people. The Hindu god Brahma, the definition of Brahma is the all-knowing, the all-being, the entirety of creation, of itself, in itself, right? So in Hindi, we say that Brahma embodies every life form. I know what I'm saying, it sounds complicated, but I'm going to bring it close, I think, to home, and it's going to help us understand what is our connection with the water. So firstly, we are connected with the water by evolution. We come from the water. The body is made up of what? I think it's 70% water. So the main components that make us human are water. We know you need water to survive. You can live without food, but you can't live without water. Water is ever present. We've got water in our eyes. We've got water in our mouths. Every part of the human body that serves as, well, every part of the human body in our limits, right? At its core, at its foundation. So in your mouth, there would be saliva, which is water. In your eyes would be, not even tears, just the liquid in your eyes, right? For anything in our body, everything in our body is made of water. We spent 9 months in our mother's wombs being formed. But biologically, we are made through water. If you think of the vagina, it has got water. It is moist. if you think of sperm, semen, it is carried by water. So God has actually made us understand who we are from the beginning through the very creative process of how we were created by our parents. If you think of anything that represents contact with another human being, or rather sexual contact, there's exchanges of bodily fluid. So water in itself, even when you look around, is the fundamentals, the foundation of the creation of everything. I mean, we could literally just, bump cheeks when we love each other. We could do that. We could do that, But for us as human beings, the exchange of fluid is our connection, is a symbol of our connection, right? So water is where we come from, even through the laws of Darwinism, even through the laws of mythology. Water, ultimately, there's got to be water. But what I wanted to say is, if you look at history, or I went through Google, and Google says the first Homo sapiens were 300,000 odd years back, and they were found in Morocco, right? Of course, how do we quantify that? How do we quantify time and space? We don't know how to. But let's take that analogy of the first evolved human beings coming from Morocco, which is just, it's in what? Mesopotamia. Water, right? And every nation in the world, regardless of what they believed in, has a deity, has a spirit of the sea. And what is so interesting is that this spirit is always referred to as mother or father. This is very important because it's going to bring religion also into context, right? So in Zambia, they've got Nyami Nyami, the Yoruba, the Orishas. In Yoruba, it's the Orishas would be Yemoja, would be Alakun, would be Ashun. There's many. Mindis is a water deity from Senegal. Osiris is a water deity from Egypt. Nephthys is also a water deity from Egypt. And then you get the water deities, and this was so interesting. I don't know where Dogon is, but I'm going to research it. You get water deities that are amphibious. So amphibious would be dihwahwa, basically, frogs and all of that. And it's so interesting because sometimes we see frogs, dihwahwa, and we are alarmed, and we are like, but go, is there something wrong? And now we see that even through history or through the living of man, water will always be connected to our spirituality. Now, let me tell you guys something also very interesting that I found out, and this was a few years ago, and it's what sparked my interest, Kamitsi. Apparently, before Jesus Christ became what the Bible has depicted him as now, the sailors and the Vikings, they referred to Jesus Christ as a dolphin trapped or killed by a harpoon. So even Liene, at some point, Jesu, before we knew what we know through religion today, there were people who perceived Jesus as a water being, right? We know that, there's been speculation that the goddess Yemoja or Yemaya is actually what modern day Mother Mary is. And it's so interesting that, like I'm saying, they are both always, water deities are called mother or father of either other deities or of people on earth, which is very interesting, right? So here is our mother, father deities on earth, living in the seas, living in the water. And last week I said majority of the people that we call Abanguni and other tribes in South Africa, everyone outside of the Khoisan is coming down from Nigeria, right? Where Mami Water, by the way, would be, right? And moving down into, down the south. So it means simply that as Africans, we had our belief, and as we walked down, as we came down, and our languages changed, we started to maybe connect with other nations as we come down, and we all agreed that there is something special about water. So today I asked my grandmother, and I said to her, why batho ba tshaba metsi? Why re tshaba metsi? And she said to me, well, it's the fear of the unknown. But she had her own interesting stories to tell me today about her experiences. So let me say today, as Dingaka, we call this water deity Remitsa Mongamitsi, Umnikazi, right? And even Liene, some people refer to him as Ubaba. Liene holds a deity but paternal, maternal characteristic, right? And I'm just going to park that go toko a bit, right? And I want to just give you guys a different angle. If you look at the journey of Khotwasa, if you look at the journey of spirituality in general, taking it from where I said we are differentiations of God, right? If you look at our relationships and you look at Khotwasa, the pattern is the same, right? The pattern is the same. It's the coming together of two seemingly different or separate entities coming together in love, in relationship, and creating from their love, from their relationship, a fruit. Another differentiation of God, but also another differentiation of them, right? So it's the same, Lika Khotwasa. It is you, the spirit, coming together with Idlozi, with whatever spirit, coming together and giving birth to something new. So Khotwasa Li's story Samoya is the story, it's a love story. From Kholeta Mpepo, the prayers and that, it is a love story. And I want us to remember this, especially when we are addressing the water spirits. So if let's take it from the Bible. If Mother Mary, whom I've said earlier on, or it's been said that modern day Mother Mary is said to be Goddess Yemoja. But let's take her in the context of the Bible. If Mother Mary managed to get pregnant without Joseph, the physical husband, in partaking in sex with her, and linyeloi latla, and told the husband that she is pregnant of the spirit, the question now becomes, God, being the father of Jesus, clearly impregnated her through the Spirit. Now, if God impregnated her through the Spirit, what would the connection, ya Mother Mary, and God be? Could it be that Mother Mary o ne a thwasa Ntate Modimo? And Ntate Modimo ke mang? Right? And at the same time, does this mean that Mother Mary and God share a significant love story? I know what I'm saying. It sounds almost like blasphemous. I know that. But I'm trying to make the connection because I'm going to start. Okay, I'm going to start to make the connection. Right? Gore kopano ya Modimo le Maria ene ile kopano ya selekane. So, and it gave birth to a Christ. So, who is God? We have just said that God is a differentiation of each of us. Right? And the question now becomes, seeing that Modimo is the differentiation of each of us, why then did he not use the spirit of himself in Joseph to still bring about Jesus Christ? Right? So I would say the relationship between God being a spirit and Mary presumably being a human being is a love story. The relationship between Idlozi and their Twasa is a love story. The relationship of Umnikazi and those who go kumitzing is a love story. So firstly, we are approaching Mitzi from a Mnikazi the father, because I truly believe God, Limnikazi, is the same being. I truly believe that as Africans, we have had many depictions of God. So, the relationship between a person, Limungamitsi, actually, if you simulate it, has been tabled in the Bible metaphorically by Mother Mary and God. So, when we go Kometsing, we are going to collect what the Bible would say our pregnancy of Jesus. Okay, like I'm saying, I know it's a crazy analogy. We are going Kometsing to go and collect a gift. Now, there was a gogo who asked me, what's the difference between Istunya li buprofeta? Istunya is pure white. Istunya is umoya. Istunya is independent of you, the Twasa, becoming a prophet or umgoma. Istunya does not rely on that. Istunya is the intuition that you've been given by God. Istunya is the spirit within you. Moya wabu profeta is Istunya that has differentiated itself through the belief of Jesus Christ or through the belief of whatever religion. Right? Istunya gahle gahle, you could almost say, on its own, is like a separate or its own form of umdao. Right? Because if you think about it, umgoma alakhela ditaula apula marapo ale ke marapo fela. The bones on their own don't say anything. Right? And for the record, I'll let you guys know, ditaola tseo wa di setela, wa di bolella gore di sheba eng. So again, back to the word of command, where now you're taking the innate you, the spirit in you, o laela ditaola gore di tlo tlhola eng. Taola enngwe le enngwe e na le ntho e tlholang. However, if I were to throw ditaola at a random person, o e leng gore sethunya ha se so tsitsi, then that person would not be able to read ditaola tseo, right? Because the bones on their own are like the label ya Coca-Cola, are like a stop sign, right? Sethunya is what makes the ngaka perceptive of what the bones are saying. So sethunya at its core is boporofeta, is the highest form, the purest form of prophecy. And sethunya as well is not only prophecy into the future. Sethunya on its own is summoning the Spirit of God at a particular time, in a current moment. Boprofeta takes time to do that, right? Boprofeta ki dipono, ki ditoro. There's always a time-space lapse between sethunya le boprofeta, right? So sethunya on its own, yone, it is in the everlasting moment of now. Sethunya is the evidence of God. Sethunya is the evidence of Idlozi. Sethunya is your only real evidence that we are here. Because sethunya cuts through time, space, and the moment ulatlhela ditaola, gore did you shake the bag or o phatlile or o rapetse, ditaola tse will be accurate, right? And most people, I think, they don't know this, right? So into boporofeta now, sethunya now also goes in and uses taola eling Bible, and meets up with umdao with womlungu, umdao wom India, right? That is the difference. Seprofeto, I guess people could say khone go kwalwa neo ya seprofeto. Seprofeto le bongoma di neo tseo di khone go kwalwa ke batho, because they are evolving and they are relying on time and space. Boprofeta le bongoma as a practice are things done on this earth. Sethunya always will remain. La ka kwalwa go bongomeng, you use is thunywa, you exercise is thunywa to be able to open your gift either through boprofeta or in another way. So sethunya is the God in you. It will never die. All right. Now, is sethunya now? Let's link this sethunya. We just said sethunya is the God in you. I just said umnikazi is the God komitsi. The Bible says, okay, God our Father, which by the way is said to be whatever in the skies, kumaru. Christianity says God ke Jesu, who died on the cross, right? But there are always elements of water and blood, which is what the red and yellow beads stand for, metsi le mati. So sethunya will always be the white, the water in your body. But ubungoma or ubuprofet converts that water into blood, mixing up with your plasms and blah, blah, blah. And that same madi is how your ancestors will be able to guide you into ubungoma or ubuprofet. Ancestors necessarily don't need to call upon sethunya for you. Sethunya is an innate gift given to you by God that you can summon and ask for anytime. So kimo sethunya mudimu nikazi Jesu. Ndao. Kaofela di ko metsing. The Bible speaks about love stories. And it means that I am in love. Nomnikazi. It means that if I am Mother Mary going to get my gift, kumetsing, I am in love, nomnikazi. I am in love with God. The Bible even says Jesus Christ is the groom and his church is the bride. Why is this analogy used? Yale nyalo. Because it is a love story. So, we go kometsing with fear, I believe. Okay, I went kometsing with fear because a gogo who's now my very good friend, she told me that umnikazi uyazithandela. And she said to me, when you go, he wants to take you to be his. And I was afraid. I was disheartened. I thought that umnikazi is a pervert, basically. And I went kometsing and came back and started to read up on other people's posts. I was in the footprints of our ancestors. It's a wonderful group. I learned a lot there. And as time went on, I started to dream of myself shopping for a ring, wearing wedding dresses. And I found it, I was so afraid for a good 3-4 months. I was calling my friends, badingaka, what's going to happen now? If umnikazi can love me, Zhuang, is it sexual? How can a serpent, because that's what umnikazi we depict him as, or that's how we understand him as, how can a serpent love a human being? Until one night when I had, not a dream, it was a voice. And I saw my bangle, this bangle, the silver and the gold bangle. And the word in my, it was just words, it was not even a dream, I was not sleeping, was, with this I take you to be my bride. I was literally being shown this bangle and hearing the wedding vows. So I woke up and I was so scared and I bought this bangle. But that was the beginning of my relationship with umnikazi. And by the way, that's when the dreams of the wedding dresses stopped. And with time, I started to ask. There was a brilliant guy in that group. I can't find him. I wish I would. I can. I didn't get his name, and I'm no longer in the group. He had a special gift to connect with mermaids, and he was giving like a whole teaching. It was through a post, and I contacted him on the side, and I said to him, I don't know what's happening. I'm having issues. I'm troubled by water spirits. I don't know what is going to happen to me. And he just said to me, okay, you're a mermaid. Long story short, you've inherited this from your grandparents. Okay. So this brought me back now to the law of Darwinism, where I was probably the spirit of who the world sees as Lerato today must have been a mermaid pre-evolution, before I evolved through the many ages, through the many lifetimes, to be what I was. And a friend of mine, a wonderful Mkulu, Kim Mkulu Frankie, and he said to me, you need to go kometsing and make your water spirits aware that you are a human being on earth now. And he said, go and tell umnikazi the names of your current husband, and you will see things will be better. So I went, and I'll tell you guys what happened then afterwards. I'll tell you guys one day. This one needs us to have lots of gin. But what started to happen now was I started to get voices, prophetic questions. And I started to get shown things through the Bible, through any book. And the message was the same over and over. You are mine. It's so funny how we can accept a God in the Bible who is jealous and wants to be the only one to be loved. However, we could never understand umnikazi to have the same thing. Later, I got another teaching from a wonderful man who gave a teaching on the spirit of Hosanna. And when I read that post, it's like umnikazi was saying, Hosanna is one of my names. I am the spirit of Hosanna. I am the spirit of what people call hallelujah today. And I started to understand why in spiritual churches, Rubina, Hosanna, we could be humming that song. But it sends me skyrocketing. Because for the first time, my relationship, Limungamedzi, became a personal one. And I managed to extend it to all of the people who came to Twasa by me. Perhaps it was an imaginary one. Perhaps it is an imaginary relationship. But the point was, I got it that for the first time, whether it's idlozi, whether it's umdao, whether it's whatever, the coming together of my spirit with another spirit that I perceive to be outside is a love story. Right? Which, by the way, I will tell you guys all, that is why when we've got spiritual gifts, we dream of being pregnant. Because it is a result. Your gift is a result. You were the Mother Mary, having been impregnated by the Spirit. Right? So, Rataba Medzi, because the inner part of us, A, knows Hore, we are coming from there. And B, the conscious mind can never understand this because the conscious mind wants to see what is real. However, the conscious mind is founded upon a brain that is incubated by water. Right? So all that our minds are systematic beliefs. We have learned to believe that if you don't see something, it is frightening. If you don't see it, it means you don't know it. And if you don't know it, it means there isn't a way to explain it. And if there isn't a way to explain it, it means it's bad. Right? And hence we get frightened. There was a gogo who said, yes, you must. Right? You have to uile. But I think we think that if you go kometsing and this one I want to say it properly because I don't want to be misquoted. Go ileng ga gago is go etsa your body, your flesh setlhabelo. You are denouncing what the body wants, requires. But most importantly, you are denouncing physical sex on earth. You are denouncing connecting to another human being because you are in anticipation of connecting with the spirit being. So actually, you are ila as the Virgin Mary. Obviously, she was a virgin. Wa ila to sort of presume a Virgin Mary status. Because it is in the purity of you denouncing what is physically on earth to connect with idlozi, with the spirit, that now you can awaken the true you. Now, here's something very interesting. We know that Mungamitsi has been depicted as a snake. But in my case, I remember asking, and I did this, call it kahosa, but it was an experiment. It was something that I felt I had been told to do. And I had a series of questions that I asked Mungamitsi. And one of the things that he told me was that I said to him, why usina lesela? Why batu baba tsamayang ba ilo thwasa ka mo tlase ga metsi ba sena their particular cloth? And the answer that he gave me was that there is not one way to truly depict me. I am a spirit with many faces. In as much as Mudimu has got many names, many faces. So the best cloth actually to depict Mungamitsi is pure white. But I thought to myself, that is the same cloth that we use for Istunywa. And he said, I am pure white, but I am also pure black. I am the definition of yin and yang. I am the beginning and the end. So what I did was I said to him, well, I'm not going to buy that story. I'm going to make a cloth. And I made a picture. And he said to me, the biggest challenge that you will receive is to draw a picture and to want to see me in a particular way, because you miss the sacredness of what I'm about. So I drew a picture of, I don't know whether to say it was a mermaid tail, but it had many scales with many colorful coils. And the reason why I chose the coils, they could be representing snakes. But at the time, one of the things that I realized was that people baba naling do mermaid spirits. They always see things in lots of color. By the way, the beads that the color are symbolic of mermaid spirits. I don't know how to tell you this. I don't know how I know this, but I do. Right? And that's why I drew those colors. And well, I guess there'll never really be a way to truly depict Mungamitsi. Right? He has come in dreams, and that's the next part where I want to come to, because I've had a question about this. And I tried to teach about it when I was talking about relationships, but I think I hadn't laid the foundation. So now you guys watch that. Okay. That is why when we go, especially batho ba ko metsing, we get into relationships that are, call them chaotic. So these would be karmic relationships. These would be relationships where you love this man or woman so much, but you cannot be with them. Or they are single and you are single, and whenever you guys get together, you meet, you are together. There was a girl who told me her boyfriend was love bombing her. There's a lot of love bombing and then only to separate. And I started to wonder, but why? What's the connection there? And the answer that I got from, I believe, Idlozilam, was that through relationships, especially water people, relationships are like that water. We flow with the tide. But with the moon phases, the sun phases, there comes a lot of chaos, because there is so much happening beneath the surface of the water. Most of the time, these people, we break up with them, and we knew that they loved us and we loved them, but there was just no way for the relationship to work. Like we fought. These people. And it becomes such chaos. It's you don't know what happened. So my people told me that this is very symbolic of water people. People with water spirits. They're like that. I've spoken about characteristics with water people, with spirits. I mean, water people are generally very sociable. They love beautiful things. They banale celebrity status. And I almost would like to think we are getting this from Umnikazi as well. And it would only make sense because whenever we imagine God or whenever we imagine heaven, we see purity, we see white. We see whites and golds. We imagine everybody being perfectly healthy, lacking nothing. So it's so funny that as people, body, water, spirits, we try to attain a heaven state because our spirit knows. Our spirit knows. The spirit is tunya setu, knows that we are coming from a godly place. So I want us to start to imagine to go and have a connection, an amazing love affair with an amazing deity that has got so much to teach. Umnikazi has got a lot of things to teach us. But sometimes we are blocked by this mind, right? Ila when you need to ila. But I will tell you guys at a later stage, or as you graduate, as your relationship le mungamitsi graduates, because it grows, it becomes like a marriage. Certain things, no, that is not necessary. That is required. Right? And whenever I go meeting, I always say, this is my declaration to Itlozilam, to Umnikazi, that let my life be like this water. And let my gift be like this water. Because we fear who we truly are. And the word fear, I think we use it, fear, but I don't think it's that. When we go meeting, and litswalo is evidence of spirit. Evidence is spirit. Litswalo is spirit, is evidence of that. So we go there and you feel your thumping in your heart because something in you is being awakened. Something, the innate you, has met its perfect love partner. Its pure love partner from its own place. I'm going to say this because I've got like another 15 minutes and I don't want to go lo-ish. And today, I've been a bit slow today. I will now, I said I'm not going to do yet the cloths, but the sun cloth was what Umnikazi gave to me, by the way, as apparently, call it a wedding gift. And I was given the sun cloth, etwew, right? And when I asked, what does the sun cloth mean? He said to me, go and read up on the god, sun god Ra. And then look through history. Everyone from Prophet Muhammad to Jesus, when we explain divinity, we see that sun disk. I already spoke about the sun disk being a symbol of the sun god Ra, being Egyptian mythology, right? But he said to me, because actually the sun god was said to be the sun god Ra. The mythology behind that was that he was waking up, rising from before 5 Kamatsa. And he would grow from birth as a baby. Listen to this one very, very carefully. I know it doesn't make sense. He would grow from babyhood throughout the day. And at midday, the sun god Ra had become fully matured, fully ready. And as the sun goes down, that is where the sun god meets up with his daughter, goddess Sekhmet. Bringing down, because goddess Sekhmet is said to be the goddess of the night. They meet up as a father and daughter but also as lover and lover, also as spirit and spirit. And from the evening, the goddess Sekhmet is pregnant. She has conceived her father's seed of her father into the night where she will go through her term and her pregnancy. And from 12 midnight, the goddess Sekhmet begins the process of labor. Now, what is interesting is that now it means the sackcloth, to me, as a gift, spoke of Porofeta ba Motshegare. And it spoke of, I would say, Bosigo is where we've spoken about this, we've all heard this, read this, of Mandao coming out from midnight until 3 in the morning, right? So clearly, if you were to look at even that mythology, the exchange between the sun god and his daughter lover mother, is that of Lisila Lily White being day and Lisila Lily Red being blood. By the way, she was said to be a goddess who killed and blah 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 blah, and her attire is red. So do you see that over and over in spirituality, the analogy of sex and love making and relationship between man, woman, mother and man is repeated over and over. So I think, it's a bit deep what I've said today, but I think that we should pray really. Each of us going there. Kometsing is a depiction of the Mother Mary, and that is why how to kometsing utlo bontsiwa a white attire. You will have it, because now o apere mongamitsi. In some churches, there's a song by Binambare, Murate Musebeletsi, Mang. Why the word love specifically? Murate Musebeletsi. Right. So I don't think I'm finished with this topic, but I'm just going to end it here today. I was a bit everywhere, and I think I'm going to continue next week. The sun cloth, by the way, is my cloth. Like I said, it's my, I don't know whether to call it my Mbande cloth, because I don't know. Call me a self-initiate, right? Yeah. I think now that we say self-initiate, I want us to talk about that next week. Self-initiates, Facebook initiate, being initiated in your dreams. What is it? I want us to also dispel some things around that. Speak about the benefits, speak about the dangers, and try to find our way in between. Right. And I think I will also explain Ngakatsupi. By the way, like I'm saying, Umnikazi would be the foundation. Istunya also would be the foundation. Yabo Ngakatsupi. Right. Because Ngakatsupi, you get shown things, diklari, you get shown in specific locations. So, Leone, I don't foresee how in spirituality we could ever avoid going kometsing. Ke kopa hore le ile le rapele ka matla when you guys go kometsing. It's a very sacred space. It's a very beautiful space. I hope one day to teach you guys how some churches have managed to bring Umnikazi outside of the water and into their safe spaces. And why these churches' uniform yabon is like that. And how I believe they did it. Right? Because umnikazi is not just committing, by the way. This is another thing that I wanted to say, and I always say this to people. Mungametsi is not just committing. I have seen who I believe to be mungametsi masqueraded mubatung, and it's always so interesting. It's always so fascinating, but it's a thing that you would perceive spiritually. You would feel it spiritually. So because once you connect, once that love affair between you and your water spirits erupts, you will be attracted to it. Just like a man would be attracted to a woman. You would be attracted to it. He is able to do that. We know right. I hope to also speak about why that is not happening so much. Right. But that's also a lesson for another day. So rather go wiki say that's like sending a WhatsApp to your girlfriend and saying let's hook up. Go committing and know that something wonderful awaits you, something incredibly deep, something that's going to challenge the way that you ever saw life. Right? There is a wonderful world committing, and it's waiting for us. You can go, and if do take obviously safety precautions. Go with your gobela, go with a brother, go with someone for protection, because sometimes people go through everywhere. There was a girl who told me that she got robbed. But go with someone and let that someone be like a witness, like when you get married. That person be a witness to you transforming and becoming the most amazing part of your spirituality. Go as often as you can. And upahle ukene. I cannot stress how important it is. And I go there frequent. My rivers are 5 minutes away. But it is in acknowledging that I'm going on a big date and I need to prepare. And that has changed me. Now, 5 minutes left. In closing, I want you guys to notice this. In African mythology, actually in every mythology, where go buiwa ka di water deities, their eyes are always covered. And I've seen this with Xhosa healers. Banality beads that come up to here. It is a symbolism. And I'm going to link that up with the Bible, where Moses said he wants to see God. Modimo abare ke tla go kenya ka mo dipakeng tsa dithaba tse pedi. Ke fete o bone mokwatla wa ka. O ka se ke wa mpona sefatlhego ka gore mang le mang o bonang sefatlhego sa Modimo o a shwa. So that was the scripture that was given to Moses. That is why go na le monga dithaba. That is why go na le monga metsi. But actually, if you could apply that scripture to bungaka, whoever that gets to see the Spirit, whoever that gets to see God dies. And death, I've explained, is symbolic of umundao. So I will even be so daring as to say, whenever unale prophetic gift and you go and you see a prophet, or you are attracted to a prophet, it is actually umnikazi summoning you. Whenever you've got ubungoma gift and you are attracted kumanchamaning, it is actually umdawa wako nedlozi lako summoning you. Right? And you being summoned means that you will die. The old you, the old understanding of how you saw life will die. And you will become a new. So, Modimo ko metsing kyo ke monga metsi. Modimo di thaba kyo ke monga di thaba. And I don't know, it's so interesting now, I'm thinking about it. All these places, Dina le Mandao as well. So now does the question, hopefully with time, we'll be able to decide, is Mundao le monga di thaba monga metsi the same person now? We will see. All right. So, Thokozani, my teaching was a bit everywhere. This is also my favorite topic, so that's why I was all over. But I will try to narrow it down next week. And I think we will do a continuation of this, linking it up with how and why the LGBTIQ plus community, why people that are not straight, why they become spiritual, or why they are prone to spirituality, right? We're going to talk about that next week, and I'm going to be bringing in, well, I'll be finishing off this topic and linking it up with that one next week. So, Thokozani, have a great night. Hey, likutseng bathong. Likutseng, we had a long weekend. Likutseng, and I hope that badimo ba lona, le modimo wa lona, le monga lona must enlighten you. Le ye ko yena willingly, le mo rate, le mo sebeletse. Thokozani.